So I have for you today a true story, to the best of my recollection, about my first confession. From what I remember, I was taken to some room with a bunch of other parents and their children. And then in the adjacent room was a priest. So one by one, us children went in to the room to be alone with this priest. Now let's just stop right there for a second. You're teaching your child that he needs to go confess all his sins in the privacy of a closed-door room with a man you don't know who runs around in a long robe spouting holy wisdoms. Right? Is that right? I mean, it's fascinating in one sense because of how educated my parents are, that they still put me through this Catholic education. They cut my dick up when I was an infant. Why? Well, it's a religious ceremony. Its purposes are too long to go into here, but let's just say it's not for the child's benefit. You're not torturing, cutting their penis for the child's benefit. It's a system of control, and it's a very brutal and sexualized and perverted one. And so my highly educated parents participated in that. But getting back to the confession, so all these parents bringing their children to be alone with the man in the room, the man in the robe, and teaching their child that he's an authority figure. Tell him all your sins. Sins? What sins? What are these sins? Well, I guess the other children knew what their sins were. I didn't know what my sins were. Nobody told me. My mother didn't tell me what my sins were. She just looked at me knowingly yep, you're going to go tell him you're a bad son. Or I don't know what the hell she thought I was going to say. So finally it's my turn. And I get up and I go into the room, and there's the priest, and he's sitting in his chair. And he's like, "Sit down, my son," or something like that. And so he's like, "So tell me, what are your sins?" And I just drew a blank, bro. Like, what's sin? What even is a sin? What is that? What is a sin? How can you even explain that to a child?